If you're in a blended family or know someone who is, you don't want to miss this episode. Today we're joined by Ron Deal. Ron is one of the leading voices in stepfamily ministry and the founder of Smart Stepfamilies. He's a marriage and family therapist, best-selling author and speaker, and host of the Family Life Blended podcast. For decades, Ron has been helping couples and families navigate the unique challenges of blended family life with practical tools and biblical guidance. He's also the director of the Blended and Blessed event, a one-day live stream that helps equip and encourage stepfamilies all around the world. Ron brings not only his expertise, but also a heart for helping families build strong, Christ-centered relationships in the midst of complexity. So let's jump into this conversation. So Ron, we're so honored to have you with us today.
Well, thank you. Man, it's an honor to be with you.
We told our listeners a little about you, as the marriage and family therapist, but if you don't mind sharing a little about yourself and kind of how you started even wanting to do this kind of stuff.
Well, let me tell you a secret about God. He uses the wrong people to do the right thing, so you know it's about God and not about the people. This is
so true.
This is the story of God's people for sure, and I'm one of those stories. So I'm sort of a fish out of water in the blended family space. It's not my life. I didn't grow up in a blended family, and Dan and I are in our first marriage, and we've been married for 40 years. So how, Ron, did you stumble into this? Well, sometimes people are motivated by personal life experience to talk about certain things. And by the way, we have a marriage message and we have a loss of a child story. And those are things that are deeply, deeply personal for me, and happy to talk about those at any time. But the blended family specialty for me came out of my professional work. My first job, I was a youth minister, which means you're working with symptoms, right? You know that as counsel, and so pretty much I was trying to figure out their world and their life and their family context in order to be able to support and help them. And I figured out real fast I didn't know enough about the family to be able to do that. So I went back to graduate school, got a degree in marriage and family therapy. But the whole time I was in school, I didn't want to just be a therapist. I really wanted to be back in ministry and do as much prevention as I was remedial work. And so that was the plan. Go back into family ministry in a local church, do education and training as well as therapy. While I was in graduate school, I had a required course. You guys are going to be fascinated by this. I had a required course called Non-Traditional Family Therapy. This was in 1992.
Wow.
That course was an entire semester on single-parent therapy and stepfamily therapy.
Wow.
Guess what? That lit me up. And I realized all those kids that I didn't quite fully understand how to help and support, that was part of their journey. And now I had a framework for knowing what to do and how to help not just them, but their parents. I came out of graduate school, went right back into local church ministry, and spent another 15 years doing marriage and family ministry, and always wanted to minister to all kinds of families. Didn't matter what their story was, their background was. Let's be relevant with the gospel. So we did marriage ed and premarital stuff and raising young kids and raising teenagers, but we also had a single parent aspect to our ministry and a stepfamily aspect to our ministry. So in 1993, I stumbled my way into this space, not knowing hardly anybody was doing it and nobody was talking about it. And the Christian community in particular was just blind. And so I wasn't trying to do anything special. I was just trying to help. But people started hearing about it, and it caught on, and they asked me to come and do this. The next thing I know, I'm doing that, and then I'm writing for this. And the world sort of opened up and kept pulling me in, saying, we need this. But I felt like I was the wrong guy. And that's when my wife told me, Ron, you're the male obstetrician to the stepfamily world. It's okay. And I went, yeah, that's pretty good. I think, okay, I'm the wrong guy, and that means God's in this, so we'll just keep going. So over a decade, it took over my life. And so at 20 years ago, I left full-time church work and started doing this full-time stepfamily ministry, first on my own freelance, and then the last 14 years I've been with Family Life. We created a ministry together we call Family Life Blended. And we're the largest blended family ministry in the world. We equip couples and to live life and do life, and we equip churches and leaders to understand in a local church what they can do to minister both to adults and to children in their local communities that are walking in stepfamily family situations.
That's amazing. what a great story, because I love what you're saying as far as God will take us and make much of him through the vessels he chooses.
That's right.
Kind of like the rowdy fishermen who then who go in and change the world. It's just the unexpected. So that's a fantastic, because what a suffering group, because and look, we've read into you 13, 14 years ago, and and we were first introduced to you, Smart Step Families, and we got all your books, and most of what we share with couples are from what we've learned from you and your ministry, which you've been a huge blessing, and anybody whom we've worked with, that you're in a blended family, that you've got Ron to thank for the good stuff, and But as far as the blended families, I mean, because they're uniquely complex compared to first families, right?
Yeah, very much so. And that's really what sort of creates stress and distress for couples and for the children themselves. Here's a quick analogy. Life during COVID and the pandemic versus life before or since. Very, very different for the world. You didn't know what was coming. A lot of ambiguity. How do we do life? Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? What does 6 feet away mean?
We planned
Apparently,
for
the guy
3
next
weeks.
to me. Exactly. Nobody had any idea. We didn't know what the journey held. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know what was good and right and fair for the relationships. I remember when they said, okay, you can come out now 6 feet away with a mask on in stores and at church and whatever in your work world. And I remember the first time I walked into a store and the guy next to me standing right next to me without a mask. And I'm like, okay, your definition of 6 feet is not my definition of 6 feet. And clearly you're okay with no mask. And I'm sort of am, but I'm sort of not. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're navigating what? You're navigating safety, closeness, proximity. What are the rules? I don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. We don't have an agreement about what it should look like. This is blended family living. We're navigating relationship and proximity and closeness. You have adults who are highly motivated on day one. We're getting married. We're forming a new family. We want everybody to feel like it's family. And so they're super excited about giving hugs. And the kid is going, wait a minute, 6 feet away with a mask on. Thinking you put on a hazmat suit and go 10 feet away. I don't know who you are. I don't know where to put you. I don't know how to navigate. I don't know what the rules are. All of that is happening on a daily basis while they're trying to figure it out. What does this look like? And create familyness all at the same time. Some people are highly motivated to that. Other people are going, nope, I don't need it. What do you do? Like, it's just odd. And it doesn't fit into any of the marriage books that typically we use or the parenting training that people get. And if you've been a parent, a biological parent, and then you marry somebody with kids and you become a step parent, guess what? The rules for step parenting are very different than they are for biological. So you think you know what you're supposed to be doing, but then life teaches you, nope, that child doesn't want anything to do with you. You have very little influence here, especially any authority. Well, then what's my job? How do I do this? That's the ambiguity we try to help people navigate and understand so that they can make different choices that fit their circumstances. And then the stress and the distress comes down. Here's the good news. There is a blending process. It's going to happen. It can happen quickly. It can happen slowly. It can totally backfire on you. The better choices you make, the more informed choices you make, then the easier that journey becomes for everybody, adults, children, former spouses, new spouses. And then familyness is something you can discover. That's what people want. We help them get there.
Yeah, and that is so great because, there's a good amount. I mean, we're not talking about a few blended families out there. There's a good percentage of blended families, and it's sad that we don't have the resources abundantly. And even, at church can do a great job talking about marriage and family, but it's usually that original marriage and family. And I had seen a stat about how 54% of blended families are saying it's not going anything like I thought this was going to go.
Yeah.
And so you've got these couples entering into these families with these lofty expectations, which probably didn't feel lofty at all. And now all of a sudden, and even what you're talking about with the children, like the one wants to be 10 foot away. Well, if you have multiple kids in that step family, you may be dealing with, 3+ kids
Right,
who
right.
are, one of them does want to give all the hugs and be there and the other doesn't. And how do you like navigate all of that? So what are some of the, what would you tell somebody about the expectations? What would be good, like
Yeah.
realistic expectations to have entering into that to
Okay,
allow
so-
that time?
Fantastic question, and you are nailing a couple of things. Let me connect a couple of dots, then I'll answer your question. Where do those expectations come from for, I call it familyness, togetherness, right? Cohesiveness. Well, sometimes people just sort of generate that within themselves. I love this new person, and we're going to get married, and so our love will ripple
goggles.
into their love, right? And the kids will be as happy that we're happy. Yeah, and maybe not. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're really not, because what their hope is, if their parents divorced, what their hope is that mom and dad get back together again.
Yeah.
And you, step-parent, are the living, breathing billboard that shouts, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so even if mom and dad, if dad died, there's still this living presence of dad in the lives of the children. And what they want is for dad to be here. Not for necessarily new person to step in and try to fill those shoes, And so the motivation and the expectations are very different for adults and children on day one. Like you said, there are some children that are open and highly motivated towards relationship with the new people. Kids, for example, that are really young, under the age of 5, tend to attach themselves to step siblings and new step parent and step grandparents pretty quickly because they're just sort of wide open to lots of people. But as those children who are 3 or 4 when you came into their life turn 13 or 23, they're now processing life in light of a totally different understanding, and sometimes those hopes and desires and wishes and longings for the right people, if I could say it that way, to be in their life can kind of ripple back into a relationship that's 10 or 15 years old. And now I'm not so sure where I want to put you in my heart. It's the same thing an adopted child goes through. All I've known is my Christian, loving, great, fabulous parents who adopted me when I was 1. And now all of a sudden, though, but I want to know who my biological parents are. I want to know what my history is. I want to know where my people are. And that creates this longing that can interfere with or bump up against the connections with the adoptive parents. It's a very similar sort of dynamic there. One other connecting the dot, sometimes the expectations come from what we in Christian ministry have told them. One of the biggest battles we face is premarital counseling.
Yes.
Pastors, the Christian church has not changed how we do premarital counseling in 70 years. Now, just imagine, through my time in the last 30 years that I've been doing step family education, I did a seminar once where I've been keeping track. I've had 6 couples with 12 kids, 1 couple with 17 kids, and 1 couple with 19 children on the day they got married. It's very common for blended couples to have 5 or 7, but it can go as high as 19 in my world, okay?
Wow.
Now, just imagine you guys are doing premarital counseling with this couple, getting married with 19 children, and you go at it the exact same way you go at premarital with a couple with no children getting married for the very first time, fresh out of college, 26, 27 years of age, and we treat them the same. We give them the same content. We go over the same stuff. It just sounds absurd when you say it out loud.
Yeah,
we
almost cause more harm than not having it at all.
That's it. You have created in them, you've reinforced in them the expectation that life in blended family is just like life in first family. It is not. It is noticeably different. And there are a number of dynamics that are just completely upside down that have an alternative effect. I'll give you one quick example, okay?
Please.
So if you guys, you got children, right?
Yeah.
So
girls. If you're sitting in a room and just one of the girls is with you, and all of a sudden Chris looks at his daughter and says, "My goodness, you are just the light of my life. I love you. You're an amazing young woman. So blessed to have you in my world." Jamie, does that feel like a betrayal of your covenant? Does that feel like, oh my gosh, he loves her more than he loves me?
Not at all.
Not at all. In fact, what
Not
does
at
your
all.
heart
I
what does your heart
want
do?
that. I love that. I'm like,
There
you're
you
the
go.
best ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
I
happens.
know
In fact,
exactly where you're going with that as soon
there's
as you said that. It's
there's
like,
an old
wow.
saying. Yes, there's an old saying. The best thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. So if he were to love you and say, I love you in front of his daughter, your daughter, would your daughter go, oh my gosh, Dad, how in the world could you do that? No, because what thrills her heart is mom and dad's togetherness, because her world is good and right and stable because of your marital love. Same thing's true if it's a parent towards a child. That is completely upside down in a blended family. Imagine you're the stepmom, Jamie, and all of a sudden Chris says to his daughter, you are the light of my life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're going, and what am I? Sliced bread?
Right.
Who do I matter? Like, where do I fit into this whole picture? Like, what just happened there? And all of a sudden, there's an insecurity. There's a fragileness that rises to the surface. There's a sense of jealousy. There's a sense of stepmom going. And if you've had any power battles with your stepdaughter at all, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, great, she's going to use this, and she's got one up on me now, and now the competition is on. So instead of connections that support and help each other, it's competing attachments within that little triangle. Now multiply that over 3 daughters 3 times.
Yeah.
Multiply that over, Chris has a phone call with his ex-wife who says, I need you to change something, Chris, about how you handle the girls. Chris hangs up the phone and comes to you and says, well, I guess we need to change. And you're like, well, wait a minute.
Where's my voice?
Where's my voice? Your ex doesn't run our household. Why does she get a say? Oh, are you with me? All of that just keeps adding a sense of instability and fragileness. And what's my place? What's my role? Where do I fit? How does this marriage thing work in light of this parenting stuff? And that is what really gets people tied up in knots. It brings to the surface any fears or worries about another relationship breaking up. It just ripples into all of that pain. And now we're not just thinking about old pain, we're living new pain. And that creates tension and strife in the family and in the marriage.
Yeah, and a lot of what I'm hearing here, it's almost like our life here on earth, we're longing and groaning for heaven.
Yes.
And a lot of these issues, like the heart issues in the kids, like the longing and even the adoptive issue, like you were mentioning, there's that God-given, I mean, it's a beautiful thing because we should long for what was right. And that was, marriage without divorce, and that it is a covenant and the original family stays together. And so I think it sounds like there is a lot of room for honoring some of these feelings that come up in our kids. It's like to look at our child and go, our child's heart, they're not being defiant necessarily as much as they're longing for what God had for them in the first place. And that, desire for the family. And so how much room do you think is there to honor everybody's position, like just changing your mindset of what you're seeing as betrayal or defiance or things like that?
One of the things we try to do in therapy, for example, and in our educational programs is just try to help develop empathy and perspective for the other. Okay, so in our little scenario we were walking through, I would use language like, okay, Chris and his daughter are insiders with one another. On day one, blended families have insiders and outsiders. The insiders are biologically connected, they're related, they're tight, they have same last name, they have the same journey, they've been through the same hard things together, they've survived life, they're family. It's clearly defined. By the way, pandemic. Remember on day one of the pandemic, what did they say? Go to those who are clearly defined to you. Go home, hang out with the people who are the closest and safest, and don't bother with anybody else. See, in stress, we all retreat into the insiders in our world. Same thing happened in pandemic that happens in blended family dynamics. So, but you, stepmom, Jamie, are the outsider who's trying to find her way in with the girls. You've got connection with your husband. You feel like an insider there, at least most of the time. Sometimes you're not sure he's got your back. He may have their back, not your. So you're kind of wondering about that. But with the girls, you're definitely an outsider, and you're trying to figure out your place. Okay, so that experience then rises to the surface when you can't get in, when the girls look at you like you got a third eye and like, you're not my mom, I don't have to do anything. You have. Like that just, again, reinforces I'm stuck on the outside. I don't know how to get in. It's my husband who's the one who can bring me in, but he doesn't seem to be bringing me in. Now the animosity and the resentment and the ambiguity is again rippling into your marriage relationship. So you can see how what we say to people is, look, it doesn't matter where the stress starts. It's always going to end up in your marriage. And so working toward empathy for insiders, what's it like to be an outsider? Can you see that? Can you have some compassion for that? Could you help protect that experience for the outsider? Outsiders, you need to understand insiders love each other. They're tight. They've got history. They got ritual, connection. And that's not going away just because you're here. So not everything is about you, outsider. How can you be compassionate for what's going on with those insiders? Dad wants to just love on his daughter a little bit. That's okay, and not necessarily a personal statement about your place in the family. So to your point, learning how to step in the other person's shoes a little, developing that empathy helps to bridge those natural experiences that are so different from one another. It kind of moves you closer to what it is to be the other.
Yeah. Empathy tends to be a solver of a lot of things, I love that you brought that up and the emphasis on that, because that was really kind of the question when I'm hearing all the stress and all the in the loyalty binds that you were mentioning, this pull one way or the other way, inside outsiders. I mean, you're mentioning the empathy, but are there other ways that couples can help protect and prioritize their marriage in the middle of all this stress?
Yeah. One of them is we call putting each other in the front seat. And by the way, we've got an event coming up, a worldwide live stream that we do once a year on Saturday, April 18th, called Blended and Blessed. And this is one of the topics that we're going to hit this year, this front seat experience. Imagine you were a single parent and, for 5 years or however long it was, you and the kids are running around doing life together. Somebody's sitting in the front seat with mom or dad, whoever's driving, right? And then all of a sudden you marry somebody. Do they go in the front seat or do they go in the back seat? Like, even the question sort of immediately pushes to the surface. Oh, somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody's going to be hurt. If the kids are used to doing that and having their turn, and now all of a sudden they don't have a turn in the front seat, well, that's not going to feel well to them. It's going to feel like they've been displaced. And hasn't life already displaced them about 1,000 times since the death or the divorce or the whatever the journey the family has been on? Yes, they've been through a lot. And so here's another one. And they're not going to be happy because you just put more straw on that camel's back. And eventually, right, some bad things begin to happen. Well, what if the step-parent doesn't get a place in the front seat? How do they feel? Second class, unimportant. I'm second to my stepchildren. Like, how does that, all of a sudden we got huge broken expectations and sadness and some pain rippling out of that. You can see where this is going. The moment-to-moment decisions about how we parent together, how we handle things, how we put each other in the front seat in our family's journey is important, and how we also attend to the children and their sadness about being put in the back seat is also very important. One of the empathy things.
Are there times when the child does get the front seat?
Sure. And we calculate that. One of the things we teach parent and step-parent is that early on in your family's journey, it's really, really helpful if you compartmentalize the bio-parent's time with the biological children. In other words, just like you're going to date as husband and wife, leave the kids at home and go out and spend some time together to renew and refresh your relationship. It's helpful for children to have a refreshment of their relationship with their parent. Because through the single parent years, it was just us and mom, for example, right? Just us. We had her 24/7 and we had her total attention. Well, now we don't. And now mom's giving time to stepdad. And if stepdad brought kids, mom's giving time to stepdad's kids. That's my step siblings. And so again, I don't get nearly as much. So if mom carves out specific time for each child or the group of children and essentially says to them, you still have me. I'm still here. I still see you. You're still vital and important. That helps a little bit. Step parent has to buy in on this to say, it's a good thing for me
Yes.
to let my spouse spend time with their kids, because this is going to help soften their hearts toward me in the long run. Yes, it's absolutely an investment in your marital usness and the family usness for that biological parent to be strategic early on. Now, this is not 24/7. It is different for the kids. They don't have all of mom like they used to, but they do get some of her in a very intentional way. That little mechanism, we call it moving toward your kids, even as you're moving toward your spouse. That little mechanism of trying to find that balance and walking that out is a lifesaver for a lot of the heartache that children experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, because even hearing all these different dynamics and different focuses that, you have to be very mindful. It sounds like all these dynamics. How have you seen this affect couples emotionally and spiritually? Because I guess help lead that in, because you mentioned in your books, the promised land. Like most first families, they'd expect, hey, we're here, we're in the promised land, that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yes, and step-family couples have to go through the wilderness before they get to the promised land. And like Moses and the Israelites, who thought this will take 11 days. I mean, that's all that it takes to walk to Canaan was 11 days. And due to their unfaithfulness, now that's the caveat there, just repetitive lack of faith in God to really care for them, the journey ended up taking 40 years. And by the way, they all had to die off and their children got in. It's not a happy story, like when you really press into it. The point is, the journey takes longer than most blended couples assume on the front end. The best research we have says 5 to 7 years on average is what it takes to find a sense of familyness. 5 to 7 years. That's not 5 to 7 months. That's not 5 to 7 weeks. That's not 5 to 7 days. That's not honeymoon, come home and everything's good. Like, it's a journey for everybody, and you got to be patient with that process. In the meantime, what's happening, Chris, is that, people start to doubt God, just like the Israelites did. They begin to doubt their leadership. Moses, man, he's worthless. Forget him. Over and over, they did that, over and over and over again. But inside, what you have to do is say, whoa, 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 this is the journey we're on. This is the path. And we're going to make the best of it in faithfulness, trusting. By the way, acting like Jesus as a step-parent is one of the best things you can do to opening up the heart of your stepchildren, going that extra mile, turning the other cheek, finding excessive mercy on behalf of a child that you don't feel like deserves any mercy, but finding a way to be calm yourself in the midst of a kid who's feeling really, really upset about how life has gone for them. And being that stable, safe presence is what helps them learn to like you. I mean, at the end of the day, they are trying to figure out, can I like you and how much? And can I trust you and how much? And if you are quick to temper, if you are as a step-parent, kids just don't give you much grace as a step-parent. They give their biological parent lots of grace. Yeah. Because you're my dad, end of story. We just get extra bonus grace, and our kids get that from us. But step-parents, stepchildren, it's pretty easy for people to jump into judgment and say, oh, you're the kind of person who has a quick temper. I can't trust you. Forget it. And now they've shut themselves off to you. So, step-parents, if you prove to be a safe, decent, kind, gentle person, that helps.
Yeah, I love that. And, and I think this is more difficult as well because just as society as a whole, we don't know how to handle hard things well. We've got like a whole bunch of us will get, we'll get very defensive and self-protective, or we'll get avoidant, or we fall into people pleasing. And there's almost a guarantee you're going to have some of these struggles. You're going to have problems as you try to blend a family. And then when it compounds that when you're two people who are going, we've always swept things under the rug. Now you can't. And there's also even the disagreements with parenting. So what do you say to the couple where you do have, let's say, the divorced dad with kids who's a total, people pleaser? Because he's so worried about upsetting the kids or hurting the kids, where that one parent does become so protective of the kids that the kids kind of begin to run the show.
They've gone through so much already, honey.
Yes. How do you navigate the parenting
Yeah.
differences like that.
Okay, so we call that the paralyzed parent, and it's very common.
Yeah.
By the way, the research is across cultures, across continents, across all ethnicities. There is almost a universal in step families, and it's this: biological parents want more compassion and understanding and grace for their children. Translate that sometimes into let them off the hook and don't expect anything from them. In its excessive level, that's what it is. And step parents want boundaries and obedience and somebody to enforce the consequences. Now, can you not see a natural setup for parent and step parent to argue, right? That is true. And on day one, we teach the best way to work the step parent into the parenting system is for the biological parent to be primary, meaning if anybody's got to take the car keys away or put the kid in timeout, depending on their age, it's got to be the biological parent. But if you're paralyzed and if you haven't done that for 5 years because you just let them off the hook while you were a single parent, guess what? This is a monumental growth point for you and for your children. And, it's hard, but it will not get better unless the biological parent steps up to the plate and begins to take that primary role, because the step parent simply cannot do it. It's asking the step parent to do that is equivalent to you having new neighbors that moved in next door, and tomorrow you walk over and walk into their house unannounced and pick up one of their children and start spanking them. That's not going well, right? Somebody's calling the cops on you. You do not have the right or the place or the relational equity to
it's not 1975 anymore.
That's so well said. That's so well said. You can't do it. And neither can step parents. And so somebody, the person who can, has to be the one. So we spend a lot of time. We've written 9 books for blended families. Okay, the Smart Step Family is probably the core, most detailed book. The Smart Stepdad and the Smart Stepmom, all 3 of those books do deep dives into this paralyzed parent dynamic because it is common and because it is so destructive. It is super, super hard for the family to move forward if that parent will not be the parent. Yeah. If they're the softie. And so you got to kick yourself in gear. You got to learn to, I've never disciplined my kids. I don't know what to, okay, well, we'll teach you some discipline strategies, some techniques. You can learn that stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to find your resolve to love your kids enough to lovingly, gently set boundaries and follow through with that. If you don't, all they're going to do is get mad at the step parent because they said turn the TV off and you never did. Somebody's got to walk that out. It's got to be the biological
and there's going to
parent.
be resentment if you don't. And
you're really saying that because of this, or because you don't like me, or because of your
and I go ahead.
I was just going to say the other dynamic is sometimes bio parents go, oh, okay, you're right. I need to step up, and they do, and then the kids say, Mom, you're just doing this because he told you to, and so kids will find a way to divide and conquer you. And that's what we coach the mom in that situation to say, hey, you know what? You figured out something has changed. Good for you. You're a smart kid. However, big smile on your face. However, I'm the mom. And yes, this is new. And yes, this is strange coming out of me. And yes, my husband influenced me to understand, but I'm buying in on this. This is my decision and you're my kids. And this is how we're going to do life. Your bedtime is 30 minutes earlier than it used to be. Now get with it. Let's go. That resolve is what makes it okay for the new system to come into play and for life to move forward.
Yeah, and I love that. And I know, and we have given out and referred your books tons because,
and we'll put links.
Yeah, we're going to have all the resources listed, because I know a lot of these families, they're in the thick of it. And they're like, just tell me what to do, or tell my husband he's wrong and he needs to stand up to his kids, or tell my wife she needs to back off, and whatever it is. But I think understanding, and what I want people to get out of this, because they can get your books and we will refer them to that. And we are going to talk about the Blended and Blessed event because there are resources that will get more specific. But I think the heart of this is kind of going, it's okay that this is the first time we're doing this. There's going to be a learning curve. How do we learn with grace and with honoring everybody's position? And with honoring the Lord in this, and knowing, I don't need to, because what we want is just tell me what to do to fix this and make it go away. We want the fix so we don't have to deal with it. And this kind of isn't that situation. This is an unfolding. What I'm hearing you say is this is an unfolding over years of time. And ideally it gets better and better. But the expectation of there's no magic bullet here.
Yes.
That if you just do these things, it's going to fix all that. But you can grow, like the things you're sharing, like to grow in compassion and empathy and understanding for one another. You walk that out over a period of years, you're going to have a solid family. Even if it's blended, you're going to have like this great family put together. But I just want people to hear, like, it's okay that this takes time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't think anyone's ever suffered or had any issues or adverse issues from becoming more like Christ.
Yes.
Right? Being made more in the image of Christ, I don't think is ever counted against somebody in the long run.
Yeah.
It's never a bad thing.
I know another research I had seen is that 75% of blended families say they don't have access to resources. And that's where your books are going to be helpful. But also, like, you guys are bringing with this Blended and Blessed event a massive resource for people. And so I don't want to skip out on talking about that. I do want to hear some of the recent Barna research that you're aware of. And so you can take it from there. You can, share that or dive into the event.
There's so much.
There is resource. So for the 75% of you who feel like, I don't know what to do, there absolutely is help out there.
And there absolutely is. In fact, in the last 10 years, we've produced through our ministry more material within the Christian community than the church has in the last 50 years. So, for example, we got 9 books. I got a woman who works on our team, Gail Grace, a 10th book. But we also have done 10 Blended and Blessed, and they're all available online. So that's 10 different video series, if you think of it that way, that you can utilize in your. We have a core video curriculum called the Smart Step Family through Right Now Media. It's available for free to anybody in the world. We have audio podcasts. I do the Family Life Blended podcast. We have close to 200 episodes. That's 200 hours of free conversation about step family. Like, we have audio, video, online YouTube channel, you name it. It's out there, right? Select your learning style, audio, read, whatever you want, and go get it. There's no longer a reason to say I can't find anything. That's not true. It's simply not true. By the way, my book, The Smart Step Family, next year will be coming out, believe it or not, 25th anniversary edition.
Wow.
And in the last 5 years, there's been a ton of research on what works in step-family relationships. We've integrated all of that into the new edition that's coming out February of next year. All of that to say, there is ongoing material, social media, where you can be fed a regular dose of things that are practical, useful, and really aimed at the Christian life within the step-family experience. So, Blended and Blessed is one of those events as well. One-day live stream, think marriage conference for couples and blended families, but it's specifically designed around your world and what's relevant for you. We bring in different speakers, different theme every year. This is our 10th year to do that event. We already have 8,000 plus people signed up. We have 20 countries represented in those registrations in all 50 states, Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, UK, Australia, you name it, because this is the one thing. But here's the beautiful thing. It's the church can attend. Well, excuse me, I should back up. We're going to be in Oklahoma City live for the event. If you're anywhere near us, come join the live audience. We're going to charge you $10 for lunch, but that's it. $10.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's amazing.
We're also going to get $10 lunch.
That's right. I mean, you can't even go to Chick-fil-A and get that. It's free to live stream the event. If you're in Zimbabwe or New York or California, you can live stream this on your time zone for free. A church can host it for free. You can put 50 people, 50 couples in the room for free. There is no cost for this, donor-driven. That's how we make this thing available. And I mean, we got a lineup. We're going to be talking about the practicalities of making those choices. We were talking about, is it my marriage or is it my kids? How do I do that? How do we navigate that little space? That's going to be one of the things that Kathy Lipp talks about. She's spoken for us before. She's hilarious, and she is so fun. We got Davey and Christy Blackburn that are going to be with us. Davey runs the Nothing is Wasted podcast and ministry about stress and loss. They're a blended family couple. They've both been through really hard things. In fact, he's going to talk about hard road living hope. How do we hang on in the midst of the difficult things that life throws at us and our children. I'm going to be talking about when you find yourself wanting more and your desire is for more and you want your family to come together, you want a particular relationship to grow, but it's not there. What do you do with that disappointment? And how do you channel that into something that actually moves the family forward? And Gayla Grace, who is on our team, writer, speaker extraordinaire, she does a monthly Women in Blended Families live stream that's on social media for free. I mean, again, all of those back issues of those things are all available through our particular ministry. She's going to be talking about renewing your mind in Christ so that that's bringing better things out of you, which creates more safety in your home. And then Cheryl Shoemake is back with us. She is dynamic, incredible speaker. She's going to be talking about parenting adult children, some of the practicalities of navigating those step relationships with adult kids. And she's also going to be talking about when you have bad parenting moments, how do you move through that and come out on the other side? I mean, Hope for the Journey is our theme this year. Saturday, April 18th, blendedandblessed.com. I know you'll have it in the show notes, but that's the website, blendedandblessed.com. It's easy to attend and register. Doesn't cost you anything. We just want people to show up. If you're listening right now, you're like, I'm not in a blended family. Well, somebody you know and love is. Mm-hmm. and your church needs to know about this. Less than 1% of churches will do anything for blended families over the next 12 months. Wow. Less than 1%. The church needs to step into this arena. Mm-hmm. We're trying to make it really easy for you to do so. All you got to do is set up a little projector and put some people in the room and let them experience this day, and then you're off to a good start. So that's why we're partnering with churches in this manner.
Yeah, and I love that. And do it as a life group. There's a lot. Invite some friends over and do that together. Make a whole day of it.
That's right. Or just have a few people in your living room. Here's the Barna thing I forgot to mention. Mm-hmm. So we and about 6 other organizations collaborated with Barna Group to do a big study of families in the United States to try to understand the state of families better. This came out last October of 25. And here's the report in a nutshell. I've been saying this for 20 years, and now we have data to support it. The non-traditional family is the new traditional family. Single-parent families, whether that be by death, divorce, or never married, single-parent families, blended families, foster families, adoptive families now outnumber biological couples raising their children.
Wow.
That is a higher percentage, well over 50%. The number of people who are in a first marriage raising their biological children is like under 30%. But the church keeps talking to the audience like everybody's the same. We keep designing our programming for marriage or parenting or premarital or whatever as if everybody's the same, and they're not. And so this is raising that flag to talk about the present and the future. One last little stat here. 53% in their Barna report, 53% of parents with children under 18, their children are living in some complex family dynamic. They're living in a single-parent home and moving between mom and dad's house, or they're in a blended family, or they're going to be. Something is not that traditional family as we typically think of it. 53% of all parents with kids under the age of 18. Now get this. Gen Z parents, so this is the youngest generation of parents in the U.S. These are parents that are basically 27 or under. So they're young parents just starting out. 74% of them have children living in complex family environments. Wow. 74%. Wow. Their kids are in a single-parent home, a blended family home, a foster home, some sort of connection that is not mom and dad raising their children. This is the future. And I got to tell you, the church is kind of coming slow, but it's time. If we are going to be relevant, if we are going to offer anything that meets the life circumstances of what people are living, whether they're already in your church or outside your congregation, this is a space we have got to get in. Mm-hmm. And Blended and Blessed is our effort to help make that easy for the church to do that. All you got to do is turn on the camera, set up a screen, and get some people in the room, and you're off and running.
Yeah, because I mean, what you're talking about, this is legacy stuff we're talking about.
It is.
This is something that we pass down in our children. And, you know, when you were telling me in the very beginning, or telling us in the beginning about being a youth pastor and how they're the symptoms, that's why, you know, I got into marriage ministry as a counselor, because I worked with children some, and then I worked with, you know, adults, individuals. They all came from broken homes.
Yeah.
I'm like, at some point, we have to get to the root of the problem. And that root of the problem on our end, where we're at, is keeping that original family together. But then when that doesn't happen, like what you're doing and what we come alongside you as well to do is keep that. If it's your second marriage, well, let's keep that one going.
Yeah.
Because it does affect our kids. It matters.
It does. It does. Jamie, you're nailing it. Make this marriage your last. Let this marriage last. And because marriage is a stabilizing factor for children in their worlds and their relationships. So here's what we know. Here's the good news. I mean, sometimes I feel like we talk around some of the challenges of blended families and people lose the good news. Here's the good news. We actually have longitudinal research, where you followed children who grew up in either a divorced single parent home, or they grew up in one of the partners remarried and became a blended family, but then that family dissolved or had difficulty, stress. Or a third group where the children divorced, one of the parents married again, stepfamily, and it was a healthy stepfamily in the life of the child. Followed those kids, watched them grow up into young adulthood and start making decisions, getting married on their own. Here's what we know. Strong, stable, healthy stepfamilies is the redemptive element in their individual journey. Those kids who come through strong, stable, healthy, blended families make better decisions about marriage themselves, are more likely to have lifelong one partner and a new stable family. In other words, the redeeming aspect for the next generation can be a healthy blended family. They've already been through hard. What's going to help? Healthy stepfamily. But we also know this, an unhealthy stepfamily dynamic, what does it offer children? More hurt, more pain, more discouragement, and less confidence in the institution of marriage. There's a reason why most people today just cohabit, because they're the fourth generation who's seen nothing but broken relationships, and they don't believe in it, and they're moving away from it. You want to talk about that dynamic in our world? We've got to talk about blended families, because blended families is the redeeming strategy. So if we don't help them, then we're just allowing them to suffer and struggle more and more, and then we wonder why they don't honor God's ideals for relationships. They've never seen it work. We got to help them see it work.
Yeah. And I love that. And I just kind of want to wrap up reiterating what you're saying here about, because it is so important when we have a situation where there are lots of struggles and hardships, that we remember who our God is, and that he is a redemptive God.
That's right.
You know, and our situations can always be redeemed, but it is going to take a certain mindset of our own to go, you know what, I want to let him in on this journey. I want to get these biblical resources. They are available. I don't want to be the victim in this. I don't want to keep fighting this way in our family. Let's go ahead and link arms and walk through this. Even though it's going to be messy, we're going to go, you know, I mean, that healing curve, it's like, it's not this linear thing. We're going to be going up and down with this, and having those proper expectations. But also underneath them, the foundation of that is knowing that we can do this. God can redeem.
That's right.
He can redeem this and work this out. We just, and it will just be so much less pressure if we acknowledge that it's okay. This is going to be a process. We haven't done this before. We can navigate this together and have good expectations over it, and know that there are.
You're not alone in this.
Right.
That's right.
There are people like you. There are events like the Blended and Blessed event, and the church, like, oh my goodness, the church needs to step up. 1% to this large of a demographic, we have to do better, and we have to pivot at that. And so I really encourage you, if you're a pastor listening to this, or anyone in ministry, or if you have a life group beyond just being in a step family yourself, sit down, get some people together and attend this event. Grab a hold of some of these resources. Start a book study at church. You bring this into your life group, and we're going to put all those resources below, and you're going to know how to sign up for the event. And the Blended Blessed event is free. It's
Unbelievable.
free, but if you
We-
can go in person, that's great.
We have ministry coaches that are free, can sit down with church leaders. We do training on a regular basis. We have a certificate program in blended family ministry online that churches or a lay couple can go through. We'll help you get this thing figured out. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You just need to come with a little desire. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll help fill in everything else. FamilyLifeBlended.com is our homepage to get to everything that I've been referencing. FamilyLifeBlended.com.
Perfect. And we will put that in our show notes. And Ron, just thank you so much. We have been following your work and studying your work and reading every single book you've written, over the years. And like, you are our go-to. You have always been our go-to. And truly your work, like through us reading it, you sharing with us just through your written work and through some of your workshops, like it's allowed us to help couples and help keep some of these families together. And they can do it.
Yes,
We've
that's right.
seen them do it. We've seen them thrive, and it's a beautiful thing. And so let's make some room for God to redeem.
Yes. Chris and Jamie, let me just say thank you for taking it and extending it to the people that you influence. That warms my heart. Yay, God.
Yay, God to that. Well,
right.
all right. Thanks again for joining us. And we're going to have everything, as we said, linked below. Please check out the links. Please check out the conference or send it to somebody who you know that needs it. Thanks again, Ron.
All right. God bless.